There were multiple casualties on both sides of the road, varying degrees of injuries to people. The only way to describe it is just pure chaos.
We break down the testimony and the unpredictable moments from day 3 of the Waukesha Parade tragedy trial, where the defendant is representing himself. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Let's talk about day 3 of the Darrell Brooks trial out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. This is the man facing 76 criminal counts for allegedly driving his SUV into a Christmas parade back on November 21st, 2021. This resulted in the deaths of 6 people, injuries to dozens more, and that's why he's been charged with everything from first-degree intentional homicide to first-degree recklessly endangering safety. This is very, very serious here. And what has made this trial, I would say, a bit of a roller coaster and unpredictable, and I would say just a bit of a circus at times, is that Mr. Brooks has chosen to represent himself. We talked a lot about this already. And as his own attorney, he has not only made arguments and cross-examined witnesses, but he's interrupted the judge. He's been kicked out of the courtroom. He's taken his shirt off in an adjacent room. It is something to see, to say the least. So today is day 3. And the first thing that Brooks does, which maybe was a surprise for many of us, is he apologized.
Jury out. But of course, Mr. Brooks, I need to turn to you first and see if there's any issues you believe the court should address.
Very briefly. I just want to state this for the record that I would like to issue the court an apology from me in regards to my actions last week during the trial. I just want the court to understand it's very emotional right now, not only for just the whole situation of the trial, the families here that have to go through, everything that's going to be involved with the trial, but also my family as well and myself is very, very emotional. But not to excuse my actions, I should carry myself with better respect than that. I wasn't raised that way. And I owe you, Your Honor, and the court an apology. And I'm going to stand up as a man and tell the whole court and you, Your Honor, that I apologize to the bailiffs, that I apologize for my actions. Like I said, that's not how I was raised. I come from a Christian background. My mother did not raise me that way. She did not raise me, to act out of frustration and irritation and anger. And I just wanted everybody to know that I apologize for my actions. And I'm going to try my best to, whatever happens, to conduct myself with respect and with respect to the court. And I just wanted y'all to know that the prosecution, judge, bailiffs, clerks, reporters, everybody, audience, everybody here. I just wanted y'all to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. I do appreciate that.
And the judge accepted this apology. So we were curious, well, what would happen? Would he be a different person? After all, he's wearing a suit. He's not wearing his prison garb. Last week, he continually insisted on wearing that. So now he's wearing a suit. He's making an apology. Maybe we would have a 180. But then this happened a few minutes later.
Who is you?
Darrell Brooks, the defendant, seated at the table.
Let the record reflect that I do not identify by that name, nor do I know anybody by that name.
Your objection is noted.
Are you a party to this matter in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained. It's not relevant.
Do you have a claim in this matter?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Not relevant. Sustained.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection. Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
And again, when anybody refers to Darrell Brooks by his name, he says, I don't identify by that name. I don't know anyone by that name. He keeps on asking witnesses who the plaintiff is in this case, even though it's a criminal case. There's no plaintiff. And overall, this is consistent with what he's been doing, right? It's part of this identification he has as a sovereign citizen, this movement where one doesn't really believe they're under the jurisdiction of the United States government. So it makes the suggestion that he thinks this trial is maybe a scam or it's a conspiracy against him. And look, he's definitely more civilized in court than he was last week. And at the time of this recording, he hasn't been kicked out of court yet, but he's still going to be Darrell Brooks and make these arguments the best that he can. All right, let's get into the substance of the day, though. So, the first witness of the day was Detective Thomas Casey from the Waukesha Police Department. And he had finished his testimony, his questioning, I should say, by the state last week. This is somebody who testified that he was 1,000% sure that Brooks was driving that red SUV. Well, the day started with Casey under cross-examination by Brooks. Let's check it out.
Did you observe the vehicle strike anyone when you attempted to stop it?
No, I did not.
Did you see the vehicle strike anybody before it approached you?
No, I did not.
Would it be fair to say that there were hundreds of people present at the time that you attempted to stop the vehicle?
Yes, there were hundreds of people there.
And you saw no one struck by the vehicle?
That is correct.
Did you see if anyone else was, could you see rather, if anyone else was in the vehicle?
I did not see anybody else in the vehicle when it passed my location.
Do you recall there being any tinted windows to the vehicle you attempted to stop?
I do not recall the passenger front or the passenger rear being tinted. I believe that the rear windows on the SUV were tinted.
So it would be fair to say that from your vantage point, you wouldn't be able to see the entire seating of the vehicle you attempted to stop?
Objection, that's a misstatement.
Grounds.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
Could you re-ask the question, please?
Would it be fair to say that because of the tint to the rear windows that you cannot visibly see the seating of the vehicle that you attempted to stop?
I did not see anybody in the vehicle. I don't think that the tint had any reasons for me not to be able to see in.
So it would be fair to say that you could clearly see the seating of the vehicle you attempted to stop, front, passenger, and back seat.
From the limited view that I had, I thought that I could see it.
So Brooks really spent his time with Casey trying to hit upon his credibility, and even at one point took out Casey's prior testimony from a preliminary hearing that was arguably inconsistent with what he was saying on the stand now. So it appears what Brooks was trying to do is suggest that, did Detective Casey clearly see who was driving the car? What did he even see? And maybe got to give points to Mr. Brooks for asking this line of questions. It's salient points he's making. As an aside, I'll tell you, it was interesting every time the prosecution objected, you hear Brooks shouting, grounds, grounds, even before they could say what the grounds were, or as they were saying what the grounds for their objection were. At times it made it curious if he was even listening to what the prosecution was saying. And I'll say, I guess he's trying to keep the state on their toes. But from what I could tell, almost always the state's objections were sustained by the judge or allowed, and Brooks had to move on with his questioning. Now, the problem for Brooks is where this testimony went today. Because we heard from several members of law enforcement. These are eyewitnesses to the event. And that includes Officer Sonia Schneider.
You needed to step out of the way so you yourself were not struck. Is that fair to say?
Objection. Being the witness.
Sustained, please rephrase.
As you stood in the middle of the road facing the vehicle, did you stay in that position, officer?
I did not. I was very concerned the car was going to hit me.
So what did you do?
I jumped out of the way.
Did you make any efforts to interact with the vehicle in any way?
I believe that I had hit out at the car.
Okay. were you able to see the driver of the car?
I was.
What did you observe about the driver of the car?
It looked to be an African American male with brown eyes and brown hair.
Did the driver of the SUV react to your presence in any way?
When I observed the driver, he had no expression on his face and he was looking straight ahead as if he was looking straight through me.
And that never changed?
No.
Did the driver of the SUV follow your direction and leave the parade route at Buckley?
No, he did not. As a matter of fact, he appeared to speed up.
Would it be fair to say that that was just a horn that was heard?
No, I don't hear a horn.
You don't hear a horn?
I do not hear a horn.
Can we start that from the beginning?
Sure. For the record, Mr. Brooks.
Objection. I do not consent to being called that name, Your Honor, nor do I identify by that name.
The defendant has asked the video to be stopped. It was stopped at 4 seconds in. He's requested that it be replayed. Are you going to have the whole thing replayed, or do you want it stopped again at 4 seconds?
Maybe around this same point.
I'll wait till you say stop then.
Okay.
We'll make a record of it. Go ahead.
Oh my God!
Pause it. Would it be fair to say that that was not just a horn that was heard on this video?
I will stick with my original answer on that.
So your original answer would be that you did not just hear a horn on this video that was being played?
That's correct.
And that is the problem for Darrell Brooks, because you not only have eyewitness testimony establishing that he was the driver, which, by the way, is so rare to have in criminal cases. I mean, how many times do we cover murder cases without an eyewitness? Here you have multiple eyewitnesses. But his attempts to suggest that he was honking the horn, or not even him, the driver was honking the horn, and maybe the driver was not trying to hit anyone in the parade, those arguments seem to be shaky at best. So we're going to have to continue to follow this trial to see what happens next, including when Brooks starts presenting his case. And he did indicate today that he intends to call his ex-girlfriend, Erica Patterson, back to the stand. And thanks, everybody, for joining us here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. We'll speak to you next time.